Shout out to everybody here on this beautiful Friday. Slow to the go here, back to 116. But it makes sense. I'm going to show you what's happening on the bigger picture so you can take advantage. Let's go. Feel it today. It's a Friday, baby. We bringing it. We're about to have the best live stream of the game. End of the week with a push. Let's go. Positivity, love. Bring the spirit, bring the energy. I can't wait to start this stream, baby. I'm already on the mic. You can tell I'm fiending to jump on, baby. 10-10. We're gonna rip it. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'm here from my lair in Dubai. God bless each and every one of you. This is going to be an amazing day. Let's spread the light, love, and positivity no matter what happens on this beautiful day. I'm seeing Bitcoin. It struggled a little bit. We could go down to 115.5. I'm going to show you some key areas that we're going to pay attention to. We had a really good run the last 6, 7, 8 days of just constant upswings, a little bit of dips, and I was able to hit them all. And now there's a bit of a slowdown. So I'm not in a trade right now. Let's break it down. Let's see what's happening here for BTC, baby. Can we get there? Yes, we can. Can we get there? Okay. Blessings on blessings to everybody out there on the live. Thank you for coming on in and tuning into the Crypto Lifer Show. For some reason, it sounds a little tinny to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's just the day. Shout out to all the beautiful people out here. Let me jump on into the chat and see how many people we got saying hi today. We got a lot of people. We got people on target. Mr. J, Underground Crypto. You know, class is in session. Pay attention. I teach class tomorrow, the last Saturday of every month. But we had to move it because, can you believe it? Just in about a week from now, Sammy will fly to Singapore next Sunday night. So a week from this Sunday, I'm pretty freaked out about it. We'll find out. And why am I so small? I don't know, but I will big up. Hey, I can't be bigger. Myself on the poster can't be bigger than myself. You know what I mean? Like, he can't be, that guy over there can't be bigger than me. Like, I got to be bigger than him. Like, I mean, I'm selling who? Hey. He's taking too much of the screen. That guy over there. That blonde dude over there with the, yeah. Get him out of here. He's taking too much. Hey, it's all about me over here. Hey. That's old me. This is me. Hey. Get him out of here. So, Lifer Vision Trading Course, check it out. See what's happening there. I teach it this Saturday tomorrow. All right, tomorrow, yeah. I work on a Saturday. Can you believe it? I could take the day off, but why not? Work my butt off every single day of the week. So I will be there. Will you be? To teach class. And I can't wait to do that. I love teaching that class. It's a big passion of mine. So I love you all. I love each and every one of you. May God bless each and every one of you for being here. So here we are. Breaking it down like we do every single day. Just want to kind of get a look here. All right. Chat's ripping. So Bitcoin, I got a bit of an idea. You can already kind of see what I'm doing. I think I gave it away already, right? With the cup and handle drawn here, because we do an update in the trading group every single day. And I gave this update earlier today and we broke it down. But I just want to show you if anything is tweaked, if there's anything I'm looking at. And there's a bit of a trade that I'm into right now. Why not? Just took a little bit of a scalp. BOOKMAP suggests that we're sitting at this 16,250 level. Could be the daily bottom, and then we eventually start to dig on up. We've been dumping most of the night into the early morning, so I could see us kind of pump possibly further. Yeah. BOOKMAP, as you can see, says we're going to liquidate the shorts at 124,000 and create a new all-time high. Right there, it's telling you we're going to 124K to rip those shorts a new one. Will that happen for sure? No guarantees. Nothing's 100%, but this has been very accurate for the last few months. There's been like 2 or 3 times when it has kind of been a slightly off base, but for the most part, it has been spot on every time we've had a bigger red above us or below us, whether it took 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, or 6, usually no more than 7 or 8, we have gone to that red area and actually demolished the liquidity zone. Who here has watched it happen? Anybody? Anybody in the crowd here watched? Anyone here? Is anyone out there? Are you with me? How many times have you seen us hit this? What are the odds we're going to hit this red line? Anybody out here? So let's take a look at the chat. Let's see what the chat is. I'm going to run a poll here. I just want to see how amazing my students are. People that are, I call you students if you watch this channel. Students of life, students of the universe, constantly showing signs of what you're doing. And just, I can see it in the chat. You people are amazing. So the way you talk, the way you enlighten, the way you push forward, all of you are absolutely beautiful people. May God bless each and every single one of you for being amazing, right? So the question here is, what are the, or I'll even just say, will we hit the big red above, right? Will we hit the big red above before a bigger dump, right? Every time we've hit an all-time high, Bitcoin has taken a tumble. Will we hit the bigger red above before we hit the dump on BOOKMAP, right? if I even word it correctly, but will we hit the big red above before a bigger dump on BOOKMAP? Start the poll. Or big red, I should say, should we hit the big red on BOOKMAP before a bigger dump? But I think you guys get what I'm saying here, and we're going to kind of keep it as such. I'm hitting yes. I'm hitting yes. I've seen this happen so many times in my life. But, you know, who knows? I just kind of want to take a poll, see what you people are saying. Shout out to Givers Gain. Shout out to everybody out there on the live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being amazing. And thank you for kicking it with the lifers. May God bless each and every one of you for just trading your time for the knowledge that we're going to give. So let's break down Bitcoin, show you what I see happening on the bigger picture, and find out where we're going. So the first thing I look at is the monthly. I've been spending a lot of time on the monthly lately. You know, every day, couple, 20, 30 minutes a day here, just kind of really pulling in the monthly, seeing if there's any different information I can get, because Bitcoin's starting to expand. The monthly's becoming the weekly. You see, when I first started trading, the monthly was so small, like we only had this much data. It was like looking at an altcoin, that had just come out on the 1 minute. Very similar. You understand that? It's really cool how you can see the small evolution of time and space. You know what I mean? BB changed it to the last Saturday. But I'm not going to be here, right? 27th? Okay. Thank you. So the class is not tomorrow. Okay. I don't know. Okay. It was changed. I don't know why. Okay. Thank you. My team, man. I wish I could just get whatever. I'm done. God bless everybody here on the live. Can we get all the way here to 187,000 of the monthly? That's what it suggests if we break out of this beautiful rising wedge of the monthly. And I'm looking for this absolutely parabolic move to the upside here for Bitcoin. It just looks like we're going to be hitting that key level. I mean, it just looks, you know what I mean? This is what I see happening. What would say no to this is if I see a monthly candle close below 103,430, or even this 102 area here. That's really the major top, and even here, below these. We get a monthly close below 107, 106, and then another monthly close below 103. That's going to be time to bail. That's when the market's likely going to start to try to find 78,000. And I'm not saying that's happening right now. It definitely looks pretty bullish, but at the same time, anything is possible, right? I don't know, right? Anything could happen. I don't know exactly what could happen. So I'm open-minded to any possibility here, and we go from there. So, but right now, the monthly looks absolutely beautiful to me. I don't know about you, but it looks pretty beautiful to me. So, and coolest thing ever is if in just 11 days, 12 days, on the 30th, if we close where we are, that'll be the highest monthly close in the history of Bitcoin. Shh, don't tell anybody. But it'll be the highest monthly close in the history of BTC. It'll be absolutely stunning and amazing. So I like it. That's also a bullish engulfing candle right there. You can put that entire candle basically inside of this one. We got a tweezer bottom on the monthly. There's some good signs here, and we're defying this tweezer top. Remember, everyone says, but tweezer tops you're going to dump every single time. It is 90% of the time. But remember, we back tested this one time here on the Dow Jones, and we showed you right here that this exact same thing happened. Bitcoin, well, not exact. I'm not going to, but very similar. Bitcoin, the Dow was making a rising wedge. It had a resistance that had broke up off, used it as support. It had made a tweezer bottom, you know what I mean, right here. It made a giant bearish engulfer, tweezer top. You would think that's the end. A little bit of a pump, the wick, and you're done, right? You're going to start, there's bearish div. 68% of the time you're going to break down. But we would charge through and continue to pump. And they print this money. I mean, the money's got to go somewhere. And they got the rate cuts coming now with more money flowing into the market. The Fed had no choice. At one point, they know it doesn't matter what they do. 30, 40 years from now, I told you they'll never hit 2%, and I've said it over and over again. Remember? I've been saying that for years. I don't know if anyone's truly believed me or thought I was just talking out my face. And I said I was going to run for president on it one day. Remember? I just kept saying, hey, they're going to keep telling you they're going to get to a place they never can. And because they print so much money, and policy really can't stop it over time, They have to keep printing more money. They've printed too much money to not keep printing money at this point. It's over. Okay? I have pants on every time. I got some beautiful cocky pants on. I look great. I don't do that Kevin O'Leary no pants stuff, man. You guys had to make me do it, didn't you? But I always have pants on. I might not have socks and shoes on, but I got pants on. Okay? So here you go. So I just want to remind you that defied the odds. And you'd say, what odds, Sam? I'd say, well, the odds of the monthly. I mean, right there, a red candle next to a green. A little bit of 1, 2, 3, 4 month pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 month pullback. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5 month pullback with a nasty dip. You know, 1, 2, 3, 2 month pullback. You know, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 month pullback. See what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a nasty dip month pullback. I mean, they're not that bad. If you got enough cake in the cash in the kitty, you can survive a 6 month dip, right? But this freaks everybody out. At these dips, everyone says it's over. It's the end. But they're going to continue. Look at how much money they've been printing. This is insane. Look, we've been in a blow off top of the Dow Jones since 2011. This thing should have crashed, and it does crash. But they print so much money that it's not the same. We can't have the same type of ebb and flow in the stock market anymore. You can't print money. You see what I'm saying? Why am I saying this? Because look. Let's just go back. I'm just going to do a small example. You have $100 million in the market, or out in live, you know, and I'm just trying to make an example. We all know there's way more money in the world, but just say at one point in the time in the world, you have $100 million. And you have like 10 stock, you know, you have Ford Motor Company, right? You had Arm & Hammer, right? Let's just say, right, you know, whatever. And it's worth $5. This is worth $2 a share. You know what I mean? And people are buying it. And there's $100 million in the market. All right. And a dollar's worth what a dollar's worth, right? At the time. A candy bar or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? You know, you can get a candy bar for 10 cents. Okay. And let's just say 1950 or 40 or something. So then you add more and more money into circulation, right? Which lowers the value of $1. Because if you have more dollars in circulation, the dollar goes down in value. Right? And when you have more dollars in circulation, but Ford keeps creating the same company. At the end of the year, they produce even more cars than before. They're actually uptick in revenue, right? So the share price is strong. Now, if the company did nothing and stayed strong, the share price should rise to $7 or something like that if there's enough money printed, because that money has to go into the share price, because the price of the actual share never changed, right? And I'm just telling you, if they did nothing at all, the company stayed flat, the price of the stock would go up in value due to how many more dollars are in circulation, because the share price was the same in value as opposed to the world. The only thing that changed was the actual amount of dollars that got brought into them, you know. Now, so if the company actually did something and produced more revenue, maybe gained even more employees and actually opened another factory and started to actually generate a broader, you know, piece of the pie in its own industry, then of course the share is going to go $8, $9. So now when you go to see what's happening to the Dow Jones and why so many companies and so many shares are just soaring, because you continue to put money into the circulation, right? So, and on top of it, there are companies that are producing. You know what I mean? Some companies are, you know, they're making, things are actually happening. So when you have production, gain, you know what I mean? Continuation, and you see a company that actually gaining more piece of the pie in its industry, like it's gaining more and more of that industry's revenue. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right? So you're producing this. So that's why everyone keeps saying here, we have to have a massive crash. And they were right. Like any analyst that knows their stuff and that has been trading since down here, and 50, 60-year-old analysts, because I'm 40 now, so I'm in like the newer generation of like older analysts in a way, but like, you know what I mean? Because you earn your right through trading. That's why trading has its, you know, people have respect for the older traders. We've just seen so much more. There's traders that have seen way more than me, right? That's why everyone looked at Buffett. He was still in the game, you know? Charlie Munger still in the game, right? Been trading for 100 years, basically. But, you know, so I just wanted to, you know, and most of you know this. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm probably preaching to the choir. But it's important that we kind of break it down and we talk about these facts, because, you know, you have to know where you are in an overinflated market. So if you were a TradFi analyst, I mean, the bearish divergence, how could, you know? And so when I called this bounce here, how did I call the bounce? Well, I used what I know to be true. Remember the other day I was showing you how I use hidden bullish divergence and how key it is to me. 3-day, 5-day, weekly, very important. The bigger, the better. But the key here is this. This was a low. This was a high. Actually, let me delete everything. I want it to be clean. This is the Dow Jones, but you can trade Bitcoin the same. I know you're like, we're not on Bitcoin. What's going on? I'm teaching you how to trade. I'm not just teaching you about, I'm not trying to, I just listen. I love you. So down here, we got this swing down. But here we have this beautiful swing to the upside. At the same time, you should be getting into a 786 or 618 Fibonacci retracement. Right here, getting into the golden pocket between the 0.65 and the 0.6. 0.68, 618, and the 0.65. This is called the golden Paquito, okay? This is it. And look, you come, even if you were a support and resistance trader, you would suggest to have a level. So anyone who knew their stuff after a massive retrace would say, hey, maybe I should put some orders down here. So when you're a logical trader that's not using emotions, things make sense to you. Like, oh, it makes sense that we're going to come to this area and bounce. That makes perfect sense to me, okay? And then look, you can almost see a hidden inverted that wants to make the right shoulder, but they're just printed too much money for us to almost make a decent one. But that's an inverted head and shoulder there. You can see it. They're slanted, twisted, flipped, and whatever you want, but like they, and that has a measured move, and that's a 68% chance of a break to the upside. So you start putting 2 and 2 together and things start saying, wow, you know what I mean? So if the Dow starts to spring up to $53,000, okay, don't say you didn't hear it here first, and you can kind of see why. When you have hidden bullish divergence on a massive time frame, there's a 98% chance, 90% chance you're going to break this high before you break this low. And that's exactly what you did. Now you are going to make a bit of a bullish dip now. But in my case, I would say, you know what, we're not going to because we haven't fully made the cycle of the RSI. This still has to come up here and dance a lot and do this and come on down. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of interesting stuff here to look at, okay? So let's get back into Bitcoin. So I just want to, you know what I mean? So lessons on like mass scale charts that have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, and to kind of use that data because Bitcoin's only been around for 20 years, right? But that doesn't mean I can't use the data from the Dow Jones 100 years from now. I want you to understand that you can teach yourself how to trade on any chart. Any chart can teach you any chart. The Ford chart can teach me Bitcoin. Bitcoin can teach me Ford. And you'd be like, how, Sam? I don't understand. But one day, I hope you will. Does anyone understand what I'm saying? Is anyone super confused about what I'm saying? I just need to know. Today is volume a bit low, but the audible, but just raise the volume 10%. All right. Check. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Okay, I raised the volume there, but now it seems a little high. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll see. 100%. Someone says 100%. I see 100%. I see 333. I got you, boss. I see clear to no end, Poppy. Amen. Just a few people, though, right? I really is the deep response there. All right. Okay. So in a crazy world we live in with so much going on, it's insane, right? It's insane. Caught the leg down today to hedge my long on Bitcoin. Got some nice profits. It's amazing. That's amazing. All right. Never have to, bro. They just do. Yeah. Sound was solid for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. I don't want to get too hot there. 100. Okay, so moving forward, I kind of want to go deeper here and pay attention what we're looking at. Bang. If you're confused, just keep coming back. Lifer is the absolute best at explaining the nuance in technical analysis. Life is if we listen to God 100%. Don't trade high volatility days, Sammy. I mean, that's the point. Shout out to Dustin Kava. Constant repetition carries conviction. Dustin, I love you, man. I'll always remember you, man, from day one, brother. God bless you, man. To 100K and beyond. Yeah. Sam, check out Liber Launch Labs, World Liberty Beam, Launchpad. Interesting. I find it so funny, man. Liber Launch. Like Liberland, right? So let's take a look at the 5-day chart. Let's break it down, my 5-day, right? I love the 5-day. I look at it every day. I get to know it. I snuggle with it, right? I read its stories, bedtime stories, and I wake up and rub its feet in the middle of the night. Me and the 5-day chart, we're tight. We're very tight. That sounded very strange. Shoulder, heads, right shoulder. It is what it is. I'm in love with the 5-day. I'm in love with the 5-day. So are we going to get this shoulder, head, right shoulder, and get a dump here to the downside? It's very possible. Anything, we could see it happen, but you never know. You never know. On this slow Friday, massive, people just kind of waking up like, what's going to happen here, right? So I think people thought, when I said I'm light trading, I think people thought I was going to take the stream off. No. That's never going to happen. We are live streaming every single day, no matter what happens here. So that could make a right shoulder on the 5-day. You can see it, right? I'm not the only one saying that. And there's a resistance there at 119,677. I actually don't know what anyone else is saying. I don't watch any other TA at the present moment. Every once in a while, I'll click on something, but I haven't in a while. I like to play with my kids. I like to do this. I like to be in the group. I got my own trades to look after. If I was watching other people, I wouldn't be able to make the gains. I got to focus, So there's the point of control right there on the VRVP as well. And we kind of zoom out a little bit. And it's also just a high volume node. We hit it, and there's some resistance there. And you can see why. 118,000, right? 117.9. So that's just, you can see it there on the 5-day. You can see it here on the 3-day. It's a next resistance. It's a place where people definitely were going to take profits if they were heavy, right? A lot of people trade heavy. You have to remember that. And if they're trading heavy, they're moving volume. And if they're moving volume, they may want to be getting out when they're up big. I was in a huge trade, like $500,000, almost $700,000 trade just 2 days ago at night, right? That one I pulled off. And man, we got the pump from like 116 up to 117.8 or 8, that one right there. And it was just, man, monumental. Like we pumped, I think it was this red candle here, this green one here. We pumped to 117.8. I sold that local top. I got like 117.4 or 3. You know what I mean? I didn't get the whole thing, but I was dang proud of what I did get, and really made the week amazing. So the daily chart to me looks like we're in some type of falling wedge, flag that. Because the 21-day moving average has to come and kiss price action, in my humble opinion. And here it is curving up. That's a good sign. And we're getting tight. And you can almost, to me, it almost resembles and I've been seeing a sloppy inverted. I've seen this pattern a few times now. The right shoulder goes really high, left shoulder, and it fakes you out because it doesn't even look like an inverted. It's almost like a faked out inverted. Like they fake you out, but they're going to go after that move later on. Like this is just to build short liquidity, right? And they're going to come clean it up at one point. It's almost like a double top, a cleanup, but and they're just waiting to liquidate those shorts. And as they continue to build here, so the only thing I see is shoulder, head, right shoulder. We lose the 4-hour 200 moving average, then I'm going to flip bear, right? If I see the 4-hour lose this 200 and start playing around here, I'm going to be like, oh no. I'm going to say we got to get back above it. Then if we flip it and make a flag, you're going to see me long like you've never seen, and then we'll go back to the upside. And I'll be playing the 4-hour 200 like I did here, right? Once you got above it, boom, we actually, we ended up, we've been calling them, anyway, we did amazing there. So the point is this, we called that right shoulder before it even happened on the daily, if you remember, but I toot my own horn, I'll do it again. Look at this, I love TA. Look, this showed you what was going to happen. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Came back and you just took a dump, right? And you came up for a lower high, you're going to make a lower low, lower high, lower low. Then you come up here, make the high. Can you make a higher low? You do. You assume you make a higher high? You do, which means you make a higher low. Boom, boom, boom. And then you make the uptrend. And you break in the downtrend, see? And that's trend analysis. Understanding trend is so important. And it took me years to understand trend. It wasn't something I could just pick up and do immediately. Trend really changed the way I looked at the market. Because I used to, my mentor used to talk about trend, but I didn't understand what he was saying. I would be like, yeah, I get you. But like, I didn't know how to trade it. Like, I didn't know how important, like now I'm like, oh my God, that higher low means I can get in here with a stop loss below this low. And there's a good chance I'm going to be able to sell up here above these highs because I can see the trend has changed. Now I trade the trend, knowing that the trend has changed has freed me. I'm less emotional. I can see things really clear. I don't need these exact parameters that flip me and go back and forth. Some indicators are so like, they are more sensitive and you're like, I don't get that when I trade trend. when I trade the trend. The trend really, and again, does that mean every time I trade the trend, I'm right? No. When I get stopped out, it's okay, but I have my stops pretty close too. Trading trend helps you actually get pretty close to price action, because if the trend is correct and you have called the up in trend, then you should be able to get in here with a stop below there or there, and you should not get stopped out. That trade should play out over time. There's people that trade that. They don't trade anything else. They're just trading the trend and the support and resistance. They might have a few other indicators that let them know when there might be momentum. People that use like I don't use momentum. Like I use momentum indicators, stochastics, RSI, and RSI. But like I don't need, everyone's like, no, when the volume, like I wait for volume. I'm always in the trade before volume. Like all my trades I made, I never looked at the volume. I could have, sometimes what you will see is what you want to look at. This is volume up down here, okay, on the bottom. What you do want to see is like change in price action. Like you see this price action moved up. But if you look here, the volume moves down. I mean, that's unsustainable, right? Like you're going up in price, but the volume's starting to drop. So when the volume starts to drop before you dump, it's telling you you're likely going to start to dump. It's like a car losing its gas as it's going up a hill, like, and then it's this is like an empty tank now, and it's just going to start to dribble out. So there's a few things that I use for volume, but I don't want to get people too confused, because you can use this in RSI as well. But like there's some people that just trade volume and price action. Like this was another indication to be wary. Price action had an uptrend, but look at volume is in a downtrend. Like volume is clearly starting to fall down right down here, but price is moving up. And so I teach people this idea, right? There's a few ideas, and I'm just going to teach you something about price and volume here. I haven't brought it up in a long time, but I do it a lot. All right. VRVP is also a volume indicator profile. Yep. It's basically the volume on the right side. So here's the deal. Price is moving up and volume is increasing. Like you have an uptrend. It's a good sign for the bulls that you could have a continuation in price, right? What will happen eventually, there'll be a line in the sand and the volume will start to drop, but price will still increase. This is when you know it's time to start taking profits, because the volume is starting to drop, but price is going up. How can you keep going if the volume is losing, right? So this is a bear sign for a good sign to get into a short, and a good time to take profits in a long when you have rising price but falling volume, okay? Then there's the other way, right? You'll have rising price. Then you'll have, all right, now there's the other way. You have falling price with falling volume. That's bearish, right? For the bears. That means you're going to continue to the downside. If you're on a short, probably can stay in it, and if you want a long, maybe you want to wait. Eventually that will end. And what will happen is the volume will start to increase, right? As this is starting to decrease. I know the volume will start to decrease and price will start to decrease, right? That tells me there's going to be a move. So whenever I see price decreasing and volume decreasing, it's telling me there's going to be a punch back to the upside. Okay? But if I see price increasing and volume decreasing, tell me we're going to, things are going to start to go down. Understand? Aha. So what I look for the most is decreasing price with decreasing volume, because that's telling me the sellers are losing and we're likely going to get our move to the upside. Okay? And then what you don't want to see is decreasing price with increasing volume. That means that the bears are continuing to gain steam. What you want to see eventually, right, is the volume start to drop off while price drops off. And then you're going to get the reversal. So you're always looking for decreasing price with decreasing volume. This is very important, right? You could trade this way for the rest of your life, just this way alone. I know it's funny, I haven't brought it up because I teach this for years, but it just, it's just another added detail that you can get through other indicators too as well. But it can break down some key insights. And what it is, it's plain to see, because it's like, well, if the volume is doing that and I need it to do this, like if the fire needs, wood to burn and I'm not giving it the wood, then how am I going to get the fire to burn? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. So clearly, right? Exactly. Works the best on big time frames, 100%, 4-hour daily. Exactly, because you can start seeing it on the bigger picture. Shouldn't we keep the scribbles and make it artwork? You can. That will be, it's there for you guys to screenshot and we can take those out. Some people said they wanted my scribbles and they wanted me signing. Some people said they wanted some of my TA signed. Like a few people have went up to me. They want like signed copies of the technical analysis. I never thought about it, but hey, Definitely. So look, shoulder, head, right shoulder could push us down, and we might be in for a bigger inverted, right? It might be one of these that brings us out. And this will collapse, and that's okay. As long as the 4 hour stays above the 200, I'm pretty bullish. As long as we can hold above 113,000, preferably even 114.8, right? That level right there, 114.7 where we bounced. And so I don't see a threat of any big, huge move today, but you never know, right? Just because I said that, does that mean it's not going to happen? No. There's no guarantees. But the idea behind this is lower volume on this Friday after a massive rate cut, and everyone was waiting for something that never really happened. You know what I mean? There was anticipation. I had what I called FOMC derangement syndrome, right? I mean, who didn't, right? I made that term up, but I mean, they're starting to get in my mind, right? They're messing with me all the time. Like, I was thinking about it day and night. I was mumbling Jerome Powell in my sleep. Jerome, no, Jerome, no, oh, yes, gang, ah. I wake up, my wife would be like, Sam, what's going on? I'm like, I had another nightmare about Jerome. He was staring at me again, babe. He was looking at me in that way, in that scary way. Jerome nightmares. I'll get you, Powell. No, but honestly, I think I have this like secret obsession and love for Jerome Powell. He's like the grandpa of us all. You know what I mean? Like, we have to watch him every time. Like, and he's the godfather of time and space when we sit there and wait on his every word. Insanity, right? So anyway, well, someone's got to be funny. Jimmy Kimmel isn't anymore. Hey. So here's the deal. We have resistance here at about 110,582. Okay. And bada bing bing. Hey, hit him with the bell. Hit him all about over there. Hey. I know. All right. Hold your applause for the end of the show, please. We have so much more to do, folks. We got so much more to do. Oh, my goodness. Over here. Hey, you in the back, sit down, all right? We're almost done. Hey, so Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame could make a right shoulder, could just kind of start to get busy. What we don't want to see is the 1 hour lose the 200 moving average. We lose this 200, we're going to start to do something silly. We make a right shoulder. So look out for a possible right shoulder. What you want to see is a bounce up here, a weak move here, and then sideways consolidation. If we end up in here, somewhere by Sunday, Saturday afternoon, and it looks like somewhat of a sideways, so it could be sideways or dump. I don't see a massive pump coming unless we consolidate into this level. We consolidate here, we have way more higher chance of pumping now. So it's pretty simple and cut to me. Watch your 1 hour time frame today. Make sure we don't lose the 200 moving average. If we lose that, or if we, I see a pump up to 117.5, right? Because then even if we're bearish, we pump down and dump. Even if we're bullish, we pump up and go sideways. So I feel like it's a necessary move that we have to pump up to this top of the range here. And we dumped a lot. There's probably a lot of shorts. And let's open this up. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not so zoomed in like I used to be there. Now that we know where we are. Everybody, Sammy Scribbles, thank you. Okay, so here's the deal. There's a falling wedge. And then this can move back to the upside here, like so, right? Bang. So that's what we're looking for today, or for the next, and that could take, I don't know, 15 to 20 hours. Hold shift and go sideways here with the plus sign. And it's going to give you a way to measure time and space. 15, that's time and space, right? The space and the time, 15 hours. So the coolest thing about trading is you can measure time and space. Isn't that funny? Time creates space. It's the only time where you can watch time in space. You can watch footage that we shoot, and that's time and space, but it's not a representation of time and space of itself. It's an actual video that you watch of that time in space. This is just time and space. Like what happened, like we went on a picnic during this time, right? You might have gone on a bike ride in one of these candlesticks,
right? You might have eaten lunch during one of these candlesticks. You see what I'm saying? But we don't see the video of it. We don't see anything. This is just a representation of that time. It's very interesting. I find it far, far out. I find it absolutely insanity, right? So I did a BTC trade. I just got stopped out for $80 just to make it clear, just to be super transparent. And you can see that head and shoulder, we ended up losing the 200 moving average. Nasty price action here for Bitcoin. So again, some Bear City move here. We haven't seen 15 since Wednesday, right? September 17th. So, and then we got that huge move, but here we are again. So HFUN got a nice pump today. Hyper Echo. Oh, really? We'll take a look at that. Thank you for saying that. HFUN. Let's take a look at that, because Hyper's been hot and holding its own very nicely. I remember when HFUN came out too. HFUN. Yeah, there it is too. That's what it is with that funny little. Oh, wow. It's been down in the dumps for a while, though. So that's like, yeah, nice little. I see what you're saying. I mean, it went up from 18 all the way up to 39. That's crazy, right? Yeah, I had 100% gains, basically. Nice monster move from the upside. Are hyper liquid memes coming back? Or is that, sometimes it could just be a group that just like sets their sights on something. And I've seen some really weird stuff like that before, but you never know, right? Hey, but at least there was some movement out of nowhere. But again, don't beat yourself up for the one coin that moved when the whole market's kind of in sketch zone, Again, great week for trading. The volatility was awesome for day trading. I've been day trading, man. I mostly sell most of my things at the end of the day, and I aim to make, between, I don't know, sometimes 1,000, sometimes 3, 4, 5,000 that day. It depends on how well the day goes, right? I mean, there's days I've lost, 800, but very easily not too much more than that. You know what I mean? This week was unbelievable. So it was just like, I lost like $200 a couple times, and then I just made like, all my trades are 1,200, $2,000, 800, $3,000. Like it was a very blessed week, one of the most accurate 2 weeks I've ever had in my life when it comes to trading. Like, just absolutely demolished the game. So, Reliable J, God bless you. My notice alert's going crazy. Looking like it's going to 115,000. I mean, we're getting a bit of a move here, right? If you look at the 15-minute now, we've lost the 200 moving average. That's what happens first. Then you go to the 1 minute, the 1 hour 200 moving average. If you lose that, you go to the 2 hours. So, like, if we start to get a real drop, you're starting to look right here around the 2 hour moving average, 113,800 for Bitcoin. Is that going to happen? I mean, we have some higher lows in a row here, a lot of liquidity dippage on the wicks. We'll see. This could just be that like last little grab, just like this one, to kind of get the weekend started to go sideways. But, there is a low volume area. There's some bearish div. Like I told you, I see either a dump or sideways price action. I don't see a huge move. If anything, we wick and we somehow at least bounce back up, but then we consolidate. And as I showed you, even if we're bearish, we could dip a little bit and still pump up in here. And just nothing about today entices me to trade. It's almost my belly is fat. I had so many stakes this week. Why would I go back for more? It's like, dang. Now today's a good day to fast. You know what I mean? Are you like me? If you're like me, I'll go somewhere like a wedding or to an event, and I will eat like a horse. I'll overeat like I should never. Like, I'll drink, not alcohol, but I'll drink like salsa water after salsa water, and just, I will fill myself up ridiculously. And then I'll remember that, and then I'll go fast. I'll go fast one day and do, you know what I mean? And just make sure that I'm not, So just keep it balanced. You can eat whatever you want, but you got to balance it with a fast day. A day where you just kind of take it all off and just let your body rest. And I do that all the time. All the time. We need a big V-shaped recovery fast now. Yeah, this would have to be a quick bounce. This is getting nasty. Let's take a look at that RSI. It's getting low, but it could get lower. It takes a lot to get it to dump really far, though. To get it down near this dotted line, we have to have like a massive dump. Like the last time we got it down here is when we dumped all the way to 107. That was like a complete meltdown, right? Key area to watch is definitely 115.8. This is it right here. At this point, you're going to be flying into that 1 minute looking for that bullish div. No real bullish div. Not really, nothing yet, in my humble opinion. Unless you get in that. So now it's either bullish div or you're getting some, you're trying to say, can we get the V-shaped recovery, right? Otherwise, you're looking now for like a bear flag. And then the bear flag could continue further to the downside. Remember, below the 200 moving average on that 1 hour is not what I'm looking for. So we would have to be getting an immediate rip back to the upside here, where we just flatten all the shorts again and then stay up in here and do something wacky. Other than that, I could see a bear flag on the 1 minute that propels us further to the downside. So taking profits last night was the smartest thing I could have done. I even left a trade. I was up a G, or almost $1,200, right? And I only ended up taking like, I think $200-300. But it was the floater that I left kicking. And I usually just take it all. And so every time I do that, I'm like, just the day trader in me makes more money than the swing trader when it comes to left. You know, I swing trade spot all day long, and I'm pretty great at it. And I'll be in chart trades for 6 months, 7 months, heck, 2 years. I'll be in there as long as I have to be to win. And I win like 90% of them. Let's hope it happens this time. I don't, this time, I hope it happens as much as it's happened in the past. It's been a way tougher speculative alt season of my entire life. I was able to speculate and hit within 18 months, almost most of the things, a couple years, and some of the other things I did prior to crypto. You know what I mean? The longest was like, it looked like they were going to, and not to be rude, I don't want to offend anyone, but it looked like I was investing in marijuana stocks. It looks like they were going to legalize marijuana, and I was going to see it all around the world, right? And I was going to see it in New York City in a store. And I said, and I looked at all the different companies, and I found Bruce Fenton and Canopy Grow Corp. And it was like, I don't know, $1 to $3 on the Toronto Stock Exchange. And it wasn't even on the New York stock market yet. And then they went public on the New York stock market, and I had already held it for years on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So the price just started to boom. That was the first time, it was almost like there was what I call exchange arbitrage there. Right now, I didn't move from exchange to exchange, but it definitely made the price of my coin go, of my shares go up on the TSX. You see what I'm saying? So then crypto ended up doing that years later, right? You'd be in a coin, it would be kind of hot. I'd get into it on a DEX. Once it made onto a bigger exchange like MEXI or something, it would get, BNB, and then it could rip. We did it with Palm AI. We did it a lot. Like we try to find the coins on a DEX, and this used to be the playbook in our trading group a lot, right? We'd be in all the DEX coins. And that's what we do. We still do with token metrics. So we're looking for those DEX coins that are hotter than most, that have a real opportunity. And then we're looking for things that, but right now what's happening is it's large caps flowing the money into Bitcoin. And that's also an opportunity. So if you're sitting there if you were there scanning all the little coins right now, you missed AVAX, you missed Solana, right? You missed all these, not a lot, but even those two were simple big coins that were likely going to pump. And they did. And I put it out to the group. We looked at it. We've been heavy in those ideas. So you could have been searching. And again, at the same time, Avantis, right, did like a 10x. MyX did like a 10x and stuff. We saw a lot of crazy moves in the last 2 weeks in cryptocurrency. It feels like we're back a little bit when it comes to altcoins, right? It feels like Stella got our groove back. It seems like we're dancing on ice, but there's still that eerie feeling because every time we've gotten this roll, we've had our legs swept out from under us. And so none of us really, and what happens with that is it slows rallies down because every time people think a rally's going to get slowed down, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we all slow it down. You understand? Because what happens is we all get more and more responsible because every time we didn't, we got wiped out. What that does is, so you kind of need risk to propel us into a bull market. You need everyone to think it's all good. But every time we thought it was all good, they've messed with us. So we need a lot of new money to come into the market, dumb money, that is blindly going to throw money into the market without that thought. Because the smart money right now, the traders like me, I'm taking my money a lot more than I used to, in a quote unquote bull run, because every time I've seen a bigger move, it's been followed by some type of shenanigans. Now, one time there will be a bigger move and it will keep going. That's why I keep my long-term altcoin bags, but I don't know for sure either, right? So it's always a risk. And that's why I'm constantly taking some type of profit somewhere throughout this entire cycle, because I haven't been able to fully trust that everything's going to go exactly as everybody says. What I do know for sure is I can stack. And if I keep stacking, I'm going to keep stacking. And this is what I thought about the human brain, okay, when it comes to trading or anything you do in life. This is anything you do in life. It just happens that we're talking about trading. But this could be any trade that you're in, any type of work ethic, even relationships. It doesn't matter. So your brain's got, you got your two sides of your brain, and you're thinking about trading and what you're doing. Okay. And then you have a habit forming process, in your brain where you get like that dopamine for doing what you're comfortable with doing. Now, sometimes what you're comfortable doing isn't good for you. Like some people get dopamine when they're headed to the bar, even though they know when they get there, they're just going to drink and probably hurt their liver. but they still get excited about going to the bar because it's what they've been doing. It's the comfort level. So I've been in a comfort level that trapped me before too. And that what happens is we get trapped in a comfort level because our subconscious mind wants to revisit the same area. What am I talking about now? What I'm talking about trading is we go in and we start to trade. And people that see there's opportunity in the market and like to throw big money at lev with no stop loss, that becomes their comfort level and their adrenaline. They might lose money, but then they feel every time they see there's an opportunity, they'll do it again. Now, at the end of the day, they'll watch my stuff and they'll be a logical person and they'll say, what am I doing? I have a split personality disorder. They'll say, I know what Sam's saying. I like to study it. I'm actually smart. But every time I see that trade, man, because you're feeding into this adrenaline process programmed into your brain, it's going to be very hard to break. You're trapped a little bit inside of a comfort level subconscious loop. I was in it. We're all in it. Many people are in it. To get jarred from it, like my mom died in front of me. You know what I mean? A lot had to happen. I'm not saying that your mom has to die in front of you. So sorry. I don't mean to bring that up. But what I am saying is jarring experiences that we could never recreate or want to, that are like movie-like, that you read about in books and stuff like that. I mean, they will change you forever, right? And they will jar you out of your old self. Like I was never the same after that, after watching my mom and watching her pass, the humbleness of her, like her spirit and her 5-day coma. Like, and again, I don't want to bring it up a lot and I don't want to dwell in sadness, right? And I'm not, I'm so happy that God was with me during that time. And I'm so happy that God delivered me to each and every one of you the way he did. I would never be the person I am today without the death of my mother. And I would never have changed the way I changed without God in my life. So I know it's so strange, but I'm so grateful for the experience that I went through. And good or bad, God has changed me. Now, when it happened, do you think I would be here years later talking about how grateful I was for it? No, I never thought I'd be there. But only under 2 years from now, I'm able to talk. I'm able to tell you how closer I am to God because of it. How much more I have compassion for the world. Every one time I see someone who's a little angry, I used to see someone a little angry, I might be like, oh, why is that person? Now I go, man, maybe something happened to them that I just could not imagine. Because there's a day you would have seen me thinking about my mom in the store, like not even knowing what I was doing. Maybe I was even at like the cash register and people were like, sir, just in a daze because I could not believe what had happened to me. So I gained so much more compassion for the world because, so through the pain that God throws us in, we're able to open up through a portal. Like we actually time travel through a portal in a way, and we find ourselves as a different people. And we actually can now see the world completely differently and touch people on a major level that we never could have before. The words coming out of my mouth right now, how I'm speaking, I can't even imagine what I'm saying, but it's happening right now in real time. You know what I mean? I'm going through an epiphany as I'm with you, and you're watching me transform every day on this stream. What I do know is love is always the answer. Compassion for others is always the answer. I pray for everybody, even people I don't agree with. And I just wish that the world could do the same. If we all can push for love at the very highest moment of our lives, and we can do that every single day, and more of us do that than less, we will cover the globe with a huge frequency that will take over the generational push of where we're going. We will get above anyone that's screaming hate and pain, misunderstood or not, up or down, however it has been. Just ask yourself what you're doing. If it's raising your frequency on the others' frequencies around you, you're likely doing great. If whatever it is slightly low, ask yourself why and adjust. You know what I mean? I do it every day. Sometimes I'm not perfect. I might have done it yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But we look at ourselves in the mirror and say, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be to the world. Please, God, help me in all my faults as a human. There's no way I'm going to be 100%. I'm not 100% trader. I'm not 100% a person. I'm going to make mistakes, but there's certain things you shouldn't keep doing. Like once you learn as a kid not to steal, you don't do it again, And then we can build on bigger moves and bigger honor. Anyway, Bitcoin's looking a little bearish here inside of what looks to me like a bit of a bear flag beginning to build on the 1 minute time frame. And it's starting to show signs of us moving further to the downside, about $115,397, right? So that looked $387. That looks like the next level for Bitcoin. If we can't get ourselves back up on some type of bullish divvy or some type of movement here, back to the upside, attempting to dig in slightly now on the 1 minute time frame with this slight uptrend on the RSI and kind of a downtrend there, right? It's a little bit of bullish divvy, but to me, it's not pretty strong. It could be an Adam and Eve, right? And it's just so fitting that Friday would be the low, the slump after this intense week too. Let's talk about one thing. Let's talk about the weekly candle, the development of the weekly candle. Let's take a look at it. Let's see where we are, right? Because in 2 days, the weekly candle will close. Let's take a look at that. And someone says WFLI is pumping. Yeah, slightly, right? I see it in a very tight channel. And again, I do own some. And, whatever happens, happens. But I was never paid to talk about it. I want to make that really clear. But I could see it getting tighter. And because, look, low, higher low, higher low, higher low, above the 200 moving average, tight moving averages. There's a high volume node. That's a point of control. You're above a point of control. You have tight moving averages. I bet you on like the 2 hour, the stochastics are getting pretty, and they're still somewhat high. You're resetting. 4 hour looks interesting. Okay. You almost need the 1 hour or the 15 minute because you don't have a lot of data. The less data you have, the smaller time frames you need to use to get the information you need. As you begin to expand, and we talked about at the beginning of the day how the monthly didn't really have the data we needed for us to really track Bitcoin the way we wanted to, right? But now that the monthly is expanded and it's bigger than it used to be, it all makes sense, okay? Now let's look at WFLI. This can go all the way up here to about what? 30 cents, right? That would be its next key level of resistance. How do I know that? That's just kind of a bit of a measured move here. When you take this wick to that wick, that would be your algorithmic next kind of stop here to the upside. And I've been pretty accurate about these throughout my life. If you've watched my channel, we hit them all the time. So, WFLI. I want to talk also about the big boy in the room, the elefante in the room. Ethereum, right? And, I like ETH. Every time I trade it, it seems to bury me. Every single time. Not bury me, but just not do what it's supposed to do. And I like Ethereum here in this bigger channel on the daily time frame. Just wanted to play it like, for what it is. But, shoulder, head, possible right shoulder. Does ETH come down and liquidate everybody here at 4,100? If it loses this key level and the 21-day moving average on the daily, I would suggest a bail. Like if I see it right here at about 4,300, I would be out. And I'd wait for it to get back into the 45, 44s before I got back inside the trade. I'm still in the trade. We'll see where it goes. I love the daily. It looks great. It's getting so tight. Moving averages are so tight. 12 hour, 22 looks a little sketch how they're tight and you have that gap. I never loved that. Almost a shoulder head, right? 8 hour. And there you are with the 4 hour, probably like right at the 200 moving average. So if you end up losing this 4 hour 200 moving average, that's a bearish sign for me, or at least a sign you're getting one of these choppy pullbacks. And to me, the trend isn't my friend anymore. When you're below the 200 moving average in the 4 hour, the trend's not your friend. See, when we came here, we made a higher low, lower high, and we crossed the 4 hour 200 moving average. That's why you get into the trade right here. The second a candle closed above it, and we get the pump, right? Because now the trend's your friend. At this point, we can trade all those little flags on the 15-minute, the 5-minute, even the 1, because there's higher likelihood we're going to win those flags because we've made a trend. So the second we're above the 4 hour 200 moving average, all my little swing trades on all those things I do on the smaller time frames, they play out better. When we're below the 200 moving average in the 4 hour, they play out worse. So like Sammy's strategy plays out absolutely beautifully. July 5th right here, all the way up to August 14th, right? We were absolutely demolishing the game. Here Ethereum did it too, but now it starts to slow down when you play games with the 200 moving average. What we want to see is this pump up and start to get tight. And so the time to enter Ethereum the high risk is now because you could get a lower price, but it could easily dump and kick you out. So it's high risk. Lower risk is to get in if we bounce now and go sideways. That would be beautiful. And honestly, are they going to let us get in that easily? Today is also the witching hour. Remember we told you it's quad witching? And we told you to be careful about quad witching. We're going to show you what quad witching is right now. We've asked Grok about it, and we have it in the history there. Quad witching, which is awesome. I might just have to ask it about it again, though, because it's kind of hard to find. But quad witching is when you have multiple futures and, commodity markets all closing at the same time. You see? I'll show you. You can even, I'll Google it here and just see. Google should have it too. But so today is like the worst day to trade in the year, like the third, at the end of each quarter, right? Because October, November, December now, we have the fourth quarter starting. So the third quarter ends, and we have the third Friday in the month of the end of the quarter, right? So that's going to be January, February, March, the third Friday of March, right? April, May, June, July, August, September, and also December. So these are called quad witching, all right? Quad witching is a phenomenon in financial markets occurring on the third Friday of March, June, September, and December, when four types of derivative contracts, stock index futures, stock index options, and single stock options and single stock futures expire simultaneously. This convergence of expirations often leads to a significant increase in trading volume and market volatility as traders close or adjust their positions, creating a potentially dramatic trading environment. Expiration of derivatives, increased volume, heightened volatility. All right. Stock index futures, stock index options, single stock options, and single stock futures. All right. Quadruple witching explained. Impact on the stock market. All right. Today is quad witching day, September 19th. Okay. So just, might be something you want to pay attention to. And look at Bitcoin struggling, having a bit of a mood. And it makes sense. Let's take a look at that. And again, we're going to do the bigger picture today on quad witching. But and again, we called this NASDAQ pump here from 23,600. I mean, what a move to the upside, right? Out the flag. Absolutely beautiful. And then I actually called this other pump out that 1 minute flag to the upside. This thing did damage right here, right? This is the last trade I made, though. We did get resistance, and I got stopped out. So it is what it is. But, is the NASDAQ also taking a bit of a hit? We'll take a look. And you'd think it would be on quad witching. And, yeah, I mean, you're getting, a little bit of a dump here. Slightly a double top as well on that 1 hour time frame. I'm going to do a bigger technical analysis on this, You can see the 4 hour is above previous support and resistance. But, yes. And there's even a bit of, bearish div if you really looked at the bigger picture, right? But anyway, we'll get to the bottom of it all later today in my macro technical analysis video that'll cover every single thing you need to know from the NASDAQ to gold all the way to ETH, BTC, and around the board. And that's an awesome macro video. You should watch it every single week. It comes out Friday afternoon. We go over basically all the macro charts that really matter in the world, from the NASDAQ to the S&P to Bitcoin to gold to Bitcoin dominance to Tether dominance to the DXY and more. So if you're interested in a macro picture of what's happening every single week, so you're not caught up in like the little time frames, just when you're seeing like the broader story, come on in every single Friday. It's Friday afternoon. It's going to be a pre-recorded video, so you'll see it. And jump on in. Take a look. I think you'll absolutely love it. And thank you. And to the people that do watch it, thank you so much. I appreciate the constant support there. That's amazing. Okay, Super Chat, props, USDT, ATH, and QRL. And thank you so much for the Super Chats. You people are absolutely amazing. $29 in chat revenue. 1,497 beautiful souls here on a Friday. Absolutely beautiful. 412 likes. Thank you so much to everybody kicking it with the lifer. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you're having a wonderful day out there. May God bless you and your family and everybody that's sharing their time with us on this beautiful, beautiful Friday, September 19th. And it's my last week with my family before I go away for about a week too. So I'll be away for a week from my, and it is what it is. They'll be moved to a safe location where nobody will know where they are. But that's interesting. Wow, we're jumping up and people watching. So thank you for the likes, everybody. We're flying up. The more I mention God, the more people are jumping on in. I mean, it's an amazing feeling to do that. 1,491 beautiful souls here on the live. So are there any coins that are worth paying attention to right now, that are worth stacking, that are hot right now? Well, AVAX had a huge pump for what it is. And you know, you could feel that large cap move coming for AVAX, right? Didn't even have to make the flag. And I see it headed all the way to 38. This is cool. This little setback here for Bitcoin's giving us maybe possibly another little chance to get into the coins that are getting heavily stacked right now, because you can see they're starting to get higher market caps, which is, you know, positioning them pretty sweet. The tight moving averages above the point of control gave us that idea that there's something was going to brew. Now we just wait for the 4 hour to reconnect with that 21-day moving average before we can continue with a higher target of about 46 for AVAX. So I like where AVAX is going. It got above this big previous resistance, used it as support, and then launched itself to the upside. Pretty awesome. So yeah, and we made that kind of comparison to the Dow Jones as well for Bitcoin, which I think is very interesting. A lot of people don't understand how amazing that is. Look at the bot. I'm just so proud of the bot. It got in at 115,396. It sold at 117,735. It made about a little over 1% on the trade of the whole portfolio. It continues to do so and compound that gain over and over again. Thank you so much. A $30,000 order too, in and out. Unbelievable. Using that 15-minute time frame, calling basically pretty close to the bottom and selling dang well the top. Somehow staying in despite this crazy move here, which would be quite emotional for most people, because the bot actually was underwater for a second there. It did not flinch. No stop loss got hit. You know what I mean? This thing is just so stone cold. And that's the beauty of using an unemotional tool that actually just does damage when it wants to. It's unbelievable. Absolutely interesting. You gotta love it. So the MINOTAUR trading bot, and you can find out more or schedule a free call. I do get a commission if you'd like to jump on in. It's something that I use. I only promote or talk about anything that I use, and there you go. And I use it myself all the time, and it's been awesome. So AVAX looks interesting to me. On the radar is the hottest thing since sliced bread. As long as it stays above 30, it looks like we can get it all the way to 46 and some. Turbo TA thinking it'll pull back to the 0.4, maybe slightly lower, and then pump. Let's take a look at Turbo. I think it's just like a stay away coin at this point. It's a dreamer's coin. I love it. I love the project actually, and I like the people involved. So let it be great. But I want to be realistic about what it really is and what it, you know, it represents a beautiful notion. The guy who started it was an artist, right? He didn't really know what would happen. And I don't know, I'm not trying to say I'm an expert on the story. I just kind of have an idea. I watched him once cry about how he couldn't believe how big it got. I saw a whole thing on him. I spent about an hour watching him, right? And the creator, and how this coin has that passion behind it. And it is pretty interesting. But, you know, getting tight inside of a falling wedge, we expect it to break out as these moving averages get tight. It still is in that cup and handle, right? Is the cup slightly lower than the handle? There's a cup, there's a handle. But I've been saying that from here. We got the pump, got rejected. Like, coins have just been taking so long to play out over time. And so could it roll over and dump back down for a double? Anything is possible with these coins. You have to remember that. The risk is high, even though the TA may be good. You know, always when it comes to like a meme type of coin. But hey, it's digging in. A lot of people haven't sold. You would expect this higher low to really, you know, be part of the trend. And as long as it stays above that daily 200 moving average, you would expect it to eventually conquer that 44.90. You think you can get it in at 40? Yeah, it looks like, I mean, that would be the safest bet. But again, I wouldn't touch this coin at this, you know, time. I would swing trade it if it broke out and retested this. And I would just take this little chunk for myself, or maybe even a third of it or a half of it or something. You know what I mean? I'm so much less greedy now. I identify a pump, I just get as much as, you know, the old me, every single pump had to be perfect. And I lost some once, you know what I mean? Now I just take chunks out of most pumps and win more than I lose. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Someone asked about props, right? Which is prop base. Wow, we had that accumulation zone. That thing looked beautiful to me back in December 4th of 2024, right? The last time I looked at it. And of course, remember, they crashed that market like you couldn't believe when Trump coin came out and every single coin got. And that's when altcoins that was a black swan event for altcoins. Absolute insane, right? It looked beautiful. See, this is what was supposed to happen. If that coin never came out and we continued, we were just supposed to have a bear market and And we'd be somewhere here right now, all paid in the shade with our last rally, and we'd be getting out. Like, and we all be so rich, but like, it didn't play out like that. Altcoins went all the way back to their lows of 2024 there, and in December 2023. Like, it just, man. So let's take a look. The last time I looked at this was a long time ago. Can you believe it? I mean, why would I look at it? I wouldn't waste my time watching downtrends. Look at that shoulder, head, right shoulder after it's already a mess. You know, are people just bailing on projects? They don't believe that I don't know if everything. See, we had a whole different market even just 18 months ago. AI was hot, right? AI's coins, you know, we had this speculative market. A lot has changed since then. A lot has changed. Meme coins took a lot of liquidity out. A lot of people have been buried and taken out of the market. There's inflation. You know, so the average person's spending power is a little lower. I mean, it's the only good sign is altcoins haven't got to, you know, if altcoins had pumped more and stayed higher, then inflation it would be harder for the average retail to get in. At least altcoins have stayed kind of, you know, they actually dumped with inflation. You know, funny, right? But I mean, it's funny, right? There's a cup and handle. That's a higher low. You're digging in to get above the 200 moving average. I mean, this could be the last chance to get like a gem at the greatest price. And then you're like, boom, I 10, 20x'd it. It used to be like this. This is the beginning of the bull market. I used to feel this way in bear markets. I could boldly buy the lows, but like, this is such a different type of market. I believe I owned some of this anyway. I liked it. I believed it was going to be pretty big in the RWA space. So I still own a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it definitely looks like a forgotten coin that to me may go to zero, man. I don't know. Because I'd be speculating that every coin is going to come back, and I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I can really get on board with that being true. We watched it there inside of this kind of, I'd say, ascending triangle, pumped up, pumped down, eventually did kind of continue to go to the upside here. ATH had a nice little run there to the upside, right? From this low of about 3 cents all the way to about 6 cents. So it definitely doubled up. 124% gains. I own a big old bag of this. Nice to see my bag double overnight, but like, you know, I also want to see it really, really start to rip. What I would watch here now is beautiful rip. Support and resistance. You know, you got your two levels that you crash through. You got your resistance up here. It's more likely now that, you know, if you're bullish, you're just going to pull that 21 towards you and continue to pump. This is deep in, right? Use all your computing power with each other to create a massive computer kind of in a way for gaming and all sorts of other stuff. ATH, Ether. So I like this idea pumping because it shows that there's some good Web3 back-end infrastructure that maybe people are feeding. Was there a node? Was there some news? For me, it's just more, you know, so I'd look for that 5 or 6 day sideways price action and then bang. Looks like we could get a pump in altcoins on like December 16th, October 14th or 15th. That's what it's kind of saying. It's saying there's some time though. Actually, that's 3 weeks. That's a long time. But hey, maybe it's not that long. Maybe it's, you know, but it does say there's, you know, if we go sideways, either that or we're headed lower. You know, either of these are possible for me when it comes to ATH. Beautiful pump. The last, you know, wow. I mean, it pumped for about 13 days. So for 2 weeks, it's been on a tear. Just check my Palm AI from about 2 years ago when you first bought it up, and it's still down from forever ago. Isn't that crazy? So sad, man. I mean, it did numbers, though, from if we had sold the top. I mean, that thing pumped hard in March of 2024. All right, so we looked at QRL, and it was called Quantum R Ledger. And I like the tightness here. And I said, look for it to get super tight, and it did. It kind of got right into my yellow zone. Pumped up a little bit. I'd be happier if it came back down and went sideways yet again. I've seen some of these going just ripping, though, from this point. What did that the other day? Remember, it was... it was a coin, Drift. Drift looked very similar and had a big rip to the upside, right? I don't know, 1.75 here for QRL looks very likely. It's making multiple higher lows above its daily 200 moving average. See, I'm very apt to trade something above its daily 200. I'm all over. If it's not above its daily 200, I'm like, why? I'll go find a coin that is. You know what I'm saying? So trade smart, trade high probability. Don't trade things with low probability. Don't put yourself in a hole for no reason when you don't need to be. All right? Take advantage of what the market's giving you. Every day there's a better pair out there if you just, you know, sit there, and that's what I do. I chart the whole market, or as much as I can, and I give you guys what's hotter. You know, I'm a bot for you. While you're working, while you're dealing with so many other things in traffic, whatever it is, I'm sitting there scanning the market. I don't leave my house. I'm here all day long. Most days I spend 90% of the time in my house. That's why I have to have a nice house. that I actually want to be in most of the time, you know? Otherwise, I'll feel trapped, right? Shout out to the 500 beautiful souls here on the live. I do not teach class tomorrow. I'm sorry about that. I teach class in a week from tomorrow. Indication isn't the same thing as purchasing power. You can say inflation is 50% all day. Purchasing power is down by 50% in 5 years. Dollars weak. 100%. I never said it wasn't. I was saying the same thing. Maybe he's talking to somebody else. Probably not me. Pepe with its own blockchain. Hey. Someone said not coin, please. I sold all my ETH, 4,500. I wish ETH would go to 36, bottom of the bullish parallel channel. Don't marry your bags over here. Story time with Drew. Thank you, story time. Always looking at coins, putting things on the watch list. 100%. Aces figured out their BIOS is buggy. You're funny. Sold my ATH months ago for profit. Crazy that not even back to where it was when we started year after year. That huge pump. Oh my God. But I've seen crazier things in crypto where coins like that actually come back with a vengeance at one point. If you just wait your turn. So it also tells me to just, just to hold my horses and stay patient. It could be a big win around the corner. I keep bringing up NEXO. I don't own any at all. Chart looks pretty interesting to me on a larger scale. That consolidation looks great. And it looks like we have time, like 2 to 3 weeks maybe even before it has a massive move. So it's not even like I have to. It's just like, oh, worth watching. Okay. Sam, class is not tomorrow. No, I'm so sorry. I've been saying it for weeks too. I'm so sorry. But if you hit the link, it'll tell you when class is. And thank you. Love Learning told me that, and I didn't know because I was told differently. So I have no idea, man. I have 3 people telling me 3 different things in my same comment. And again, my fault, right? It's my fault. So I'm sitting on a huge bag of gall. I blame myself when it doesn't work right because I can clearly, put it together so it does. Please analysis on NAS. We'll look, yeah. Me too. I work from home. You have to have a setup to feel comfortable. The market did not like what Powell did with the 25% rate cut. They're funny. I mean, yes and no. It also is going to take some time. Or the market wants it to do something it's supposed to do and it hasn't done it yet. You know what I mean? Like something of that nature. Wow, nasty dump here for Bitcoin. Let's jump back into the charts here and see what's happening for BTC. Now that 1 minute that 1 minute just took an absolute pukage. Look, it didn't even, it just almost went right to the target we had there at 115,387. Wow, we went to 115,586. Nice short too. I mean, just like when we get above the 200 moving average. Look, that was cat ears. I mean, it was cat ears at the 1 minute. Look at that. And then you just, I told you I saw a dump or a slow sideways move. Could we come back up now in V-shape? Anything? I mean, could this be a massive inverted? I've seen it. We rip back to 117 and everyone's like, no, we're going to just mess you up by, 5 o'clock today or something. It's possible. It's very interesting. But who knows? Let's take a look at ETHFI, which I actually still stake with. Let's take ETHFI on Binance. Wow, so this thing took a beat down. It was up at $6 or $7 when it came out, and it got that run up. But it just had a slow bleed ever since. Now, DeFi's been coming back slightly, and Ethereum's can get, holding those reins. And you think maybe, just maybe, that's a breakout. And it is for ETHFI above the daily 200 moving average. Again, it solidified its first push above that resistance. It's now, just like we said, it's got to make that flag, right? Yeah, we'll watch it closely and see where it goes. Something like this, though, is likely. Similar to Bitcoin, it looks like we're just going to have like a 1 week pullback here, folks. It's not always up only. We've been going up for a while. It would make sense we get a bit of a week. Get it? A week. One more thing I want to look at. Bitcoin USDT here on, let's just say, Bybit Perpetual. We're going to delete everything. And we're going to look at Bitcoin on the weekly candle. And so, how candles form, right? Let's think about it. They start off flat right here. It came down, made the wick. It came up. It got sold. Could it bounce back up and close as such, right? or it's going to close like, if it closes like that, that's kind of like, that starts showing signs of shoulder, head, right shoulder. I'm just, you know what I mean? That would, you know, I don't want to be the bear news. I'm just showing you, like, that's how the right shoulder would start. You would make some type of nasty, basically, you know, reverse pin bar here. And then you'd make another red candle that would, you know, and then maybe, or you know, a green. Then you'd have this like weird up and down price action, kind of like this here with some wicking, and then you'd roll over, right? So we don't, you know, preferably would not want to see this formation Sunday night. It would be nicer if that's cleaner and it looks more like this candle here that I'm going to horribly butcher because it's hard to draw these lines, but like something like that, you know. I'd like a close somewhere above 115.8, 116.8 would be preferable. So that's, you know, in a beautiful world, that's what we were looking for. It doesn't say we're going to get it for sure. And, you know, today's a little sketchy now. Changed kind of how the whole weekly candle looked from this morning, to be honest. Interesting, right? When you've got to zoom out and see things in perspective. Wow, Bitcoin's just, you know, a little ugly right now. Nice little recovery on bullish divvy, though. Heavy volatility. Yeah, there's some bullish divergence there. Nice swing up on the RSI. Price action swung down. And you did get the bounce. Now, divergence is strong, but it's only as strong as your support and resistance. So you'll get a pump, but the pump will only take you so far. That's what I've learned. That's why people say, well, the divergence didn't work. I'm like, yes, it did. You got the pump. But now you got to get above resistance. So you look left on the 1 minute I found, and just find the last place you get this dig in. And I call this the dig in. It's like you dig in, you pump up, you roll over. You got to get back above 115.8 to remain any type of bullish. Then you'll cross the 200 moving average. And so there's a chance here we could be doing one of these. Shoulder. Chubby head here with a right shoulder back to this key area for Bitcoin. Back to about 116,300. And you're looking for this right shoulder. You know, you could pull a bit of a fib there if you get a high moment on that right shoulder push. And you'd come, you know. So anyway, we did identify the strong bull div that we've been looking for. It finally came in here on the 1. We got some right there too. But it was defied pretty strong. This one's a little stronger. I'll give it to it. And nice bounce we did get here from 115.5 all the way back to 115,800. Very interesting. And now could this continue up and get this, like, you know, right shoulder here to break us further to this area of liquidity? Anything is possible. I'm going to load up on Sol at 215. Interesting. You think you're going to get 215, huh? Yeah. No, I'd be happy to see it go back and touch 100,000. Anything could happen. I don't really, you know, I look at 5 years from now and just like ride the wave, man. Life is good. God has got me so far. How would God not continue to get me as far as I am even further in the next 5 to 10 years? I put my faith, man, and where I've been and where I'm going. And each day is your behavior. Everyone wants their life to change, but they don't change their behaviors. Your actions change your life. Your life is your action. Sorry, I had to sneeze my face off over there. Ah, sorry about that. Everyone's like, wait, that was a bit sketchy. No. It was not. I'm going to breathe in some natural herb. Wow. Eucalyptus. Oh, wow, that really opens you up, too. Burns the nasal. Someone says, let's go Bitcoin, pamp it. Well, now you're looking for the right shoulder or some type of cup and handle. Cup with the handle to get us out of this. It doesn't look amazing. Let's zoom out, too, and look at the bigger picture because that's important. If you stay too glued in, you won't be able to see what's actually happening on the bigger picture as well. You know, it kind of looks like a bear flag, don't it? Just keeps trucking on a bit lower. Let's take a look at what BOOKMAP is presenting to us, too, as well. What do we have out here for BOOKMAP? I mean, BOOKMAP, we got to, like, zoom in deep. They got some liquidity down all the way to 114.5. Got some red down there, too. The bigger picture still says that we go higher somewhere up there, but, you know, They got that red at $124,000. And so whoever's shorting right now, they got 117.5. That's their big liquidation areas, 117.5 and 124,000. Usually you pack your bags. They're coming down to pack their bags, which they could be coming to get you. All right. The late shorts, the people that went long last night and yesterday throughout the week, and now they're waking up Friday and they're not sure what to do. Indecision. They're getting taken out right now. That's just what it is. If you didn't have a pay yourself mentality, right? Back to, remember that thing I was talking about is your habit, is your forming in your subconscious mind. So make it a habit to sell trades and then get reward and then smoke a cigar or do something. No, I don't know. I don't want you do whatever makes you happy. I don't want to tell anyone to do anything. But my whole thing is, and I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think I'm saying you should be taking this financial advice, but I make it a habit to sell the trade, man. I make it a habit to pay the trader. Like this week, I paid the trader many times. So next week, I'll pay the trader many times because the habit has been formed. My subconscious mind now is in a reward system habit. See, my subconscious mind used to be in a downtrend habit, like it was taking me further down, right? Because my habits were comfort bearing. I had a night shift because I didn't want to, I couldn't see people there. I just you know what I mean? I was hidden from society, all that weird stuff. But the whole thing is, but I learned. I was isolated on the computer, and that's where I figured out Bitcoin and all the nonsense. I deep dived the internet, and the internet taught me a lot. And now I'm here to kind of teach you back what I've learned, and here we are together, right? And somehow, many people had the internet. I used it to my advantage to get somewhere in life. Other people didn't. It's funny, people went to college. One day I'm sitting at my computer, and I'm like, people go to college, people go out and work, and I said, and I have this machine right now, and I have Google, and I have YouTube that teaches me almost anything. Someone's out there teaching me. And they're doing it for free most of the time, like I am right now, because YouTube is, you monetize your time for YouTube and get paid for it too as well. So as long as you're there doing something for somebody, you can find a way to get paid. YouTube is beautiful in that way. So you don't even have to sell everything you got. You can give a lot for free, and people will still find ways to monetize you. And that's the beautiful of this new digital economy, man. The attention economy, man. Where the attention goes, the money flows. And so the key is to have value. Everyone's like, they ask me, oh, what happened? Your channel did well. I'll have friends that have channels like mine, and they'll say, even be bigger channels. And they'll ask me, man, how come you get more views? Like, how are you growing? I've had so much trouble growing. And sometimes I'll say what's on my mind. Sometimes I'll just give them a hint about maybe marketing, which I'm not even that good at. I could be doing so many other things better. I want to make this very clear. I think I'm hurting in some categories, but whatever. I'm open-minded. I like to be overly critical, not overly, but constructively critical of my own self and business, so we can always progress. You don't want to be super happy. If you're always yeah, we're doing great every time. I mean, we are doing great, super positive, but there's always a tweak, right? This looks like a bear flag coming down, in my humble opinion. But back to the main topic here, subconscious mind, program the habits to be rewarding, okay? So that each time you do something, it actually helps you get better in life. A lot of people's subconscious minds are programmed to hurt themselves. Like, for instance, I used a very simple example of getting excited before we go to the bar. We might even gamble at the bar. We might actually have promiscuous relations with people at the bar and end up with some type of thing we didn't, we get drunk and do stupid things at the bar, and we may know that we do that, but yet we still get excited to go there because it's, the bad decision has now been ingrained as a good habit. Like, you're getting an endorphin from it. Oh, but I'm gonna get away from all my stress. After that third or fourth drink, I'm gonna be so free, and then let the night take me away. Whatever happens, it's so much fun being so drunk, right? I'm not saying that. I haven't had a drink in 4 years now, and it'll going on 5 in November, I believe, or maybe it's 4 years this November. It's crazy how time flies. Yeah, 4 years this November. I think 2021, I took a sip. I believe it was 2021, I took a sip. I'd have to look for sure. I believe, man, wow, so much has happened. Unbelievable. Yeah, I took a sip of wine at Thanksgiving, and it tasted so gross. I read about how they're all GMO. And I wasn't a big wine drinker anyway. I was just doing it because it was there. I was like, get out of myself. And I was like, why am I always searching? What am I searching for? I said to myself, what am I looking to get away from? Why do I want to be out of my body so bad? What happens is once you quit drinking for about, I really stopped a lot too for months. Before I stopped, I didn't have drinks for 3, 4, or 5 weeks at a time, a month at a time. I wouldn't even think about it. And as a person, I used to go days and days without alcohol. As a person, it wasn't my thing. But I still drank because of society. I was Irish. I thought I had to have Guinness. My dad always had Guinness in the house. I'd come home to visit my dad. He would have, I'm talking 20 cases of 24 packs in the basement. And then his entire outdoor fridge it would have like the whole bottom rack filled with like 50 Guinness. And I would just, I'd walk in, I'd say hi to my dad. He'd pass out. My mom would be reading. I'd have just come home or something. My wife might be like with the baby sleeping. And what did I do? I basically decided to go and have myself 3 Guinness, sit out there and just, sit it on the hammock and just, get myself pissy. And I did it all the time just because it was there. And one day I just asked myself, like, but why? And I read about frequency, and I read about all the people that have made something of themselves. And I learned, a lot of people that I really respected didn't drink alcohol. And I said, I desire that respect that I'm giving to that person. I want people to respect me in that way. You know what I mean? And so I gave it up. And as I gave it up, I had more control over my life. I talked, with more intelligence to people, and I made more sense because when I said something, I truly believed in it. You know what I mean? And I backed up what I said, and I did it. Now, when I went to events, people would meet me, and they'd see how I am, and then I'd go somewhere with them, and they'd offer me a drink, forgetting, and I'd say, oh, I don't drink. And they'd go, oh, my God, I forgot that about you. Some people are so amazed, man, when you don't drink, because everybody drinks. So you're like, oh, my God, he doesn't drink. They're like, and it's a superpower, man. I was playing poker the other day. Everyone was drinking but me. They were obviously going to start making poor decisions, and I was going to start making better ones. I was only going to progress at the game and get better at it. They were probably going to get worse. What are the odds? Some people coast on liquor, and they're pretty good at everything. But like, it's at the end of the day, let's be real. I sit here and risk every single day playing with probability, and you're going to play cards with me. Someone said, are you good at playing cards? I said, I hadn't played cards in years, but all I do is play probability every day against the world. I've taken some of the biggest risks in life to start a YouTube channel because most YouTube channels don't get this far. So if you looked at the probability of me getting here and you started it as a business, the probability would tell you not to start the business. They would tell you to start a different business because they would say the odds of you winning are very, very low. But I took that chance anyway because I didn't care about winning. I cared about being myself, and somehow I won. It boggles my mind when you actually don't focus on winning, that's when you win. And this is the law of detachment. There is a law for this in the universe. It's called the law of attachment. All right? You see what I'm saying? A little fluff every once in a while to clear the cobwebs is all you need. You're funny. It's a good life not drinking. It really is, man. Guinness is good for the libido. You're funny, man. This guy's funny. Is that what he learned today on the stream? Look, a bit of an inverted head and shoulder that could save the day and stop the bleeding. Again, whenever you're not sure what's happening, if you're sitting on that 15-minute, that 1-hour candle, they're going to be red. You're going to be freaking out. All you're going to see is this. You're going to have really, what you want. If we close this candle back above the 1-hour 200 moving average, I would long that puppy right back to the top of the range. Heck, I could wait for a tweezer bottom here on the 1 hour like this. And if I get a tweezer bottom, I long that puppy. Sometimes I get aggressive and long right now inside this candle. I don't think we need to get that aggressive on a low volume Friday, but then we zoom into the 1 minute and we can see how this could possibly save the day here. Slow this, slow the sauce of this dump down. And now we look for the measured move of this key level, which takes us to the 200 moving average, right? And through this gap of the VRVP, back to somewhere at about, $116,168. So yeah, that looks like a move right now about to happen. Now I wait for us to cross the 200, and for the 21, if I get that, I will take a trade. Despite it being a low volume Friday, I just will make it smaller. That's all. Watch out, we may be about to come down for divs on the 3 and 5. Yeah, looking great, Sam. What do you think about TAA USDT? Let's take a look at it. Which is, I believe it's Trust AI, right? It looked good to me. I said it looked like it was going to pump. I had it in the group, actually, I had it in the group. We put an alert on it, and I said to watch it. Look at pump. It almost went to my target, too, at 13.5 cents. I mean, amazing, right? So it went beautifully. It did exactly what we were looking for. And bang. Now we can do here. Boom, boom, boom. And let's see what the height of the wick was. About 17% gains in total. And we talked about this in the trading group. And we went over it. Again, I'm not going to be at, projection. But look at that beautiful projection. And I did move this. My projection was a little lower. No guarantees it was going to do exactly what it did. But, you kind of tweak it. It's like water. You keep kind of basing what you're seeing. Once you see it fall suit into the move, boom. I mean, but we were pretty spot on there with TAI. You can see how we projected it way before it happened on about the 17th, and the pump happened on. Okay, yeah, it all happened on the 17th. So I'm about to say, I was like, well, but you can see we projected it there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It would pump later on around 11, right before we kind of would switch to Thursday. Wednesday night too, where good liquidity is in the market. And that is, that was TA, which is funny. What a, TA. True bit, right? True bit. Trust AI. Sorry, Trust AI. I get those confused sometimes. TAI and Trust AI. Okay, I'm saving $500 a month. Yeah, man, you also save money. Yeah, I have kids and have always thought that drinking in front of them or having alcohol in your house is incredibly irresponsible. Hey, God bless you, man. Hey, it is what it is. People do whatever they do, Cigars are bad for you, but I enjoy a nice cigar and a shot of scotch or bourbon. I don't know, man. Nicotine ain't made me actually prove to be okay. Native Americans smoke nicotine. They didn't seem to have. I mean, I don't know. I've never studied cancer rates of the Native Americans, but I never heard it was like a horrible thing either. But I'd have to find out. You see, I thought they lived pretty healthy lives. They did their smoke. If they got sick, they smoked themselves out, which was a sweat lodge, which would put all the toxins out. And then in the sweat lodge, they would also, smoke, I think, or go outside, maybe they would smoke nicotine, I also believe, which I believe was a cleansing process for them. That was the pipe that they, so I don't know. But I'd have to do my full research. I'm from Massachusetts. We lived, and you have this, there's a big Wampanoag presence in the town right next to mine, and you learn a lot about Native Americans. Huge respect for them. The state of the word Massachusetts, like most of the Kansas, most of the words are in Native American language, right? Massachusetts comes from Native Americans. It means the land of many hills, I believe. Is that, if I was correct? But let me double check that for you. Wampanoag, I believe, Nicotine batches can have advantage. Yeah, I got some cigars straight from Honduras and a bunch of shaman down there hooked it up. That's pretty cool, man. Sober 6 years this 6 month, and it's the best thing I've ever done. That's amazing. God bless you, brother. Yeah, this is a channel where people better themselves. All entrepreneurs here. It's an entrepreneurial channel, an entrepreneur channel, right? Like we teach you how to trade, but I go over Bitcoin, but I also want you to expand your mind, shape your future, and push yourselves to the next level, right? Okay, so it's Algonquin. I'm so sorry. The Massachusetts originates from the Massachusetts language, an Algonquin dialect spoke by the Native American tribe of the same name would inhabit the area, which is now Boston. It translates roughly to at the Great Hill or near the Great Hill. I was pretty close. Referring to the Blue Hills south of Boston Harbor. Some sources also interpret it as the Large Hill Place, the place of many hills. But yes, Massachusetts, right? An Algonquin tribe of the same name. All right, so that, the etymology of that word, right? Super chat, XLM. Let's take a look at XLM. I like if this thing could bounce. I wouldn't trade this right now. I would wait for it to bounce and hit the target. I would plan on trading it if it could. It looks more bullish than anything else. It could also dump pretty fast, the fact that it came up so hard. But I would watch it closely, in the next few days. Really, what you're looking for is that 21-day moving average on the daily. 12-hour, 22. See how it's kind of reacting. We want tight moving averages on that 8-hour. Tight moving averages on the 4-hour too as well. Important. You could dump down to the 200 moving average. That wouldn't be, then you'd have to look for bigger consolidation or something. Barbecue is the only, is my bigger tribe. Amen. I grew up near Blue Hills, Mass. Shout out to Good Deeds, man. Me too, bro. God bless you, brother. You must have grew up in Milton, Hyde Park, West Roxbury. I mean, those are all the towns right around it. Maybe Brookline, Mattapan, kind of, The name Ohio means Seneca Iroquois, right? Iroquoian, yeah, for the Ohio, which means good river. Shout out to Andrew Yurkovic. God bless you, Andrew. You're so awesome, man. And thank you for all us just kind of jumping on in and having Knowledge Friday be a blast here. Blessings on blessings. I'm going to continue to kind of go forward here. So, show me a network I would pay attention to. Advantage too. If we start getting pullbacks in the market, These are strong coins that could actually present, great swing trades. You want to find things that have great volume. That's what I do. And then kind of play with that volume. World Liberty Finance holding 20 for like a week now. It's pretty strong. Solana back to 237 after that major push, but that's good. You just want to see it above 220, 225. Unibase is on my radar now. Unibase, right? I mean, with base, it just, whenever I see base in there, I see an Ethereum address. Wow, this thing is hot right now, and it's out pretty early. Let's take a look at Unibase. What does it do? As I move too fast there. It's a decentralized memory layer for AI agents, providing long-term memory and cross-platform compatibility. I like that it can do multiple things with multiple stuff. It provides AI agents with opportunity to learn, evolve, and interact autonomously, creating foundation for open agent internet, a modular and verifiable ecosystem of AI agents on the blockchain. Key components are implemented within Unibase, Membase, and decentralized memory layer that provides secure and scalable data. It sounds great. Is it really doing what it says? I never trust it. KuCoin, Bitfinex. It's on Bitfinex, UB, which is interesting. A lot of times they're not the only, when they get a coin, it's Unibase. I'm going to take a look at here on Dex Screener. Not a serve, huh? Weird. So it's only on PancakeSwap, it's what it's saying? V3 right now. And it's on KuCoin. Looks like it's going to pump. I mean, it looks interesting. I like what it's doing. I like its idea. I like it that it's infrastructure for AI agents. That's interesting. Because I love it. I love infrastructure because you don't have to bet on like one thing making it. You just bet on the fact that the whole thing could move. That can help. It can ride an industry, right? It's like betting on skateboarding instead of one skateboarder. What if that skateboarder twisted his knee or got hurt or so, you know what I mean? Whatever. Or decided he was just going to take a break. Whatever it was, right? Then you'd like whatever stock that was in him would be down, but the whole market would be up. Another skateboarder would come out. So you invest in a company that creates skateboards instead of like investing in one company. Or, maybe you would invest in the metal that all the companies buy to make the skateboards if you found it out instead of just one company. And because, if one went down or up, they'd all still be buying that metal to make the trucks or whatever. So you find infrastructure behind industries. That's a great way to get super wealthy, right? And it's also a way to downsize risk because you see what I just talked about. Why? Because you own a larger piece of a pie, and if it's like owning 5 buildings instead of 1, right? Or owning an apartment building with 30 apartments instead of 14, or only 5. What if 3 people leave and you're in between? Now you have 3 out of your 5 apartments down. But if you have an apartment building with 30 apartments and 5 people leave, it's only 1/6 of your entire inventory. You can probably handle it and swing through and continue to pay bills and make it happen. So that's why larger apartment buildings are better investments with lower risk, stuff like that. So you're always trying to downsize risk if you can with your money. If you're not doing that, there's people that are looking at every single deal in life and they're presented like 5 or 6 business deals. And inside of those deals, they look at all the risk. Now and depending on their ability to be mathematically, and this also comes from an innate ability to be in this position. The more you sit down and take meetings, the more you have business opportunities around you, the better you're going to be at deciphering where, what ones are going to be better for you or not. And you're going to make some mistakes along the way, but you're going to get better and better at doing this. And then eventually your risk management is high, right? So like me, I'm saying I'm probably there's someone better than me, but I'm better than the first guy and a lot of beginner guys that are entrepreneurs. And I'm really good at seeing where there's potential risk, right? And trying to just minimize the risk. I love heavy risk. I'm always going to be in heavy risk. But I want to minimize that risk slightly to give me an edge for the people that are already in risk with me, right? And we do that in trading every single day in the trading group. You see that all the time. Someone's asking about SCI here. Hey, Lifer, I shorted SCI 34. Can you check, please? Check, please. Dumb and Dumber. Check, please. So we shorted 34. You're up right now on your 3240. And again, Bitcoin moves, the whole market moves down, right? You have cat ears here. For me, all these coins are long-term on the bigger time frame. I wouldn't be playing games. I would not be shorting little coins on a Friday. I believe that's high risk, but you're going to do whatever makes you happy, right? So that's not on me. And maybe you do great at this. And, that's why I never judge anyone's trading style. I don't know their trading style, right? I'd make this a little tighter. You are challenging trend line soon. You're getting oversold on the 3-hour. 4-hour still has some time to dump. Looks like you're going to challenge this previous support as resistance, 31.95. Might be a good area to think about taking some profits. I don't know. High risk trading altcoins, it's not really my bag when it comes to leverage on a Friday afternoon. I'd swing trade a daily or a 3-day chart and hold it for a month or two. Turn 100 grand into 100 grand. You know what I mean? That's what I do. I don't toy with the lev when it comes to, I played Bitcoin. I trade Bitcoin basically exclusively and the NASDAQ on leverage. A little bit of Ethereum, but I don't even have that good of luck with it. So, I mean, that looks like almost that almost looks like, an M pattern too that's going to dump on you. So it all depends too on Bitcoin. Bitcoin takes a dump today and starts dumping. This is going to pay you hard. Bitcoin starts to bounce off that 1 hour 200 moving average. So you better have this screen up and Bitcoin up, and you better be watching the 1 hour 200 moving average. I think it's a horrible idea to short this right now, but that's, again, that's me. That's my opinion for me. It's not, you're going to have your own opinion for you. And hopefully you make massive gains. I'd rather it dump for you because it doesn't matter for me long term. So dump away and pay the trader, please. But man, I don't know. Looks pretty sketchy right now. It all depends on Bitcoin. Everything depends on Bitcoin right now. The whole market. Yeah. When I was in Tokyo, I mixed the speech cadence of the locals for the words. I knew, and it's funny how people react differently, especially when they're not looking. Interesting. Zin pouches burn only me trying to. I don't do Zin, man. Yeah, I've never done it in my life. He's like, yeah, I don't do the Zin, man. Let's take a look at the fan funding here and see what's happening. Can we pull a fib on Ether? Hey, Legend, can we look at props on MEXC? We did that, yeah. We looked at WFI. We looked at QRL from George Wingard, Dutch Patriot, Nebula. Stas, remember the volume divergence we used to track back then, Sammy? Good old times, 100%. Hyper fun. God bless you. Cheer up. Love for Romania. Thank you, man. Oh, we're super happy. I don't know. Am I not happy? Thanks for showing up again today. I'm just like, I love being focused. That's all. When I'm focused, I can't be like extremely happy because I'm like in that zone. I'm just in that serious zone. Hey, can you check ETHFI, please? Thanks a lot. We looked at that. Can we look at XLM, please, Kurt? Let's look at XLM and Ohio. And hey, Lifer, I shorted SEI. So I think we just didn't do XLM. Shout out to Olaseni, C18497. Everybody that gave here, JPO, Andrew Yurkovic, Kurt Shore, XLM. XLM made that huge double bottom a long way back there. Remember right here? I want to see a lot of coins do this, and then it pumped. Came right back down to kind of the neckline, retraced. You're kind of looking shoulder, head, possibly right shoulder. Or even if this can come up here and you're getting tight. But it started to make a bit of what it looks to me like a symmetrical triangle. It's almost like a half to bounce there. Get a little tighter, 2 or 3 more days. Looks like XLM can start to pump. This trade's been open for a long time. Sitting here, stop loss there. You can even move it up a little bit. I see it headed to 71 soon, but wow, what a boring trade, right? And it's taken forever. It is oversold. Looks interesting. I'd look at your 3-day. That's going to be your go-to chart. And let's see what the 3-day chart's kind of presenting. Looks okay. It's coming up. It could roll over, though, too. It could roll over and make a falling wedge here. And we could get a dump in altcoins right back down here to 32. Almost looks like that's what it's going to do. It's hard to tell, man. Altcoins are sketchy right now. I would not be over trading them. I'd just be DCAing or playing the 3-day chart on the hottest projects. And anything else, I'd be very, very wary of. And that's how I've been trading it the last few weeks. That's my bigger job, somebody said. God bless the lifers. Have a great weekend, everybody. God bless Underground Crypto. Thank you for being here, everyone. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping on in. If you want to learn more, go to cryptolifer.com to find out how you can teach yourself the skills that I taught myself through my teachings. Go to $99, $270, or $1,000. Hit it to join the 99. That's a year, that's a quarterly, or that's a monthly subscription. I'm here every single day, 7 days a week. I'll be back tomorrow morning to bless you guys and for you guys to bless me. Thank you so much for the super chats and the love. Thank you so much for the comments, and thank you so much for the constant support. I don't know where I'd be without each and every one of you. I'm so thankful. May God bless the world. May God bless you all. And remember, I studied a lot of great people, even people that it's not about money, people that even like a successful school teacher in a small school district in Illinois. If she's like the best at what she does and everyone talks about how amazing she is for the community and what she's done for the kids, like she's a success. So, or he too. Like, I just want to say it's not always about money, but it's about process. So I studied people, the most successful processes, no matter what they did. And you know what I found out? It was a secret to each and every one of them. There was a secret to success. You know what it is? It's getting started.